Yes. So we're going to go back to the earlier drawing of the eye that we had that was a little bit more complicated. And you're not going to add any of this stuff. You should already have this stuff in there. And I'm just going to simplify. Okay. This portion of the eye was what? The very front was the cornea. And this portion that opened and closed the size of this thing was the iris. This space, which you probably discovered from your quiz or your struggle, in the front is called the what?
Oh, is it the anterior?
Anterior chamber. So everything that's in front of the iris and behind the cornea here is called the anterior chamber. In the back of the eye here, everything back behind that is called the what, gang? Posterior chamber. And those things are filled with fluid. Okay? There are two fluids in the eye, and you don't have to put this on the thing here. You can, wherever you have room in your notes, there's two fluids in the eye. First one is called the aqueous or aqueous humor. And humor in this case just means liquid or fluid. It is the liquid in the entire eye. It fills the entire space inside of the eye. Is the aqueous. There is another fluid at play here as well. It's called the vitreous humor. This one is a lot less water-like and a lot more, yeah, like a gel. It's like a jelly. I think of Shrek. Squeeze the jelly from their eyes. It's quite good on toast. There really is a jelly in the eye, but it is in the posterior chamber. I ordered us some eyes to dissect. They should be here soon, and they'll be good and fresh, so you'll be able, not fresh, but like fresher than the ones I had in the back. Oh gosh, those were a mess. Miss House found those when she was cleaning, and they had like, the bag was open, so they like dehydrated. So like I had like eye jerky back there, and there wouldn't have been any of this in there. But there is going to be a good amount of this goopy clear gel in there that you'll dig, so you can appreciate it. Why does it have to be clear?
So you can see.
So you can see. Otherwise, it wouldn't be able to. The images wouldn't be able to make it all the way through. Now, this one and this one both serve to keep some pressure inside the eye, which is important because the pressure is going to help keep the retina fixed back to the back wall of the eye. So, in fact, when they attach or reattach a retina, sometimes to help with the attachment process, they'll actually put a little extra air inside the eye to make the pressure a little higher to help that retina to reattach to that back wall. In addition, these fluids help keep everything, all the cells filled with all the fluid they need to be able to carry out their function. But there is an issue if there's too much pressure inside the eye. Okay? And that's glaucoma, but I want to hold off on that for just a second. What is this word? What does that mean?
Liquid.
It's a liquid, right. But what do we use it for?
Laughter.
Laughter. We use it, if somebody's pretty funny, we see they have a sense of humor. Okay. I'm going to give you some history on this. Humor was what a lot of medical science was based on for a very long time. Like what? A concept called humorism. Health in people's body was forever thought to be related to these four liquids that determined not only our health, but also our temperament. Look up here in the upper right-hand corner, this weird, terrible drawing of all these people, okay? It describes the four temperaments of the humors of the body. You may have heard these terms before. Phlegmatic, choleric, sanguine, and melancholy are the types of personalities, and they thought that was largely based on the balance of the liquids that you had in your body, the humors. Okay, it wasn't until modern medicine, it wasn't until scientific approaches to things later took over, and they stopped trying to bleed people. They're like, well, you've got a imbalance of your humors in your body. If I delve into this just a little bit longer here, here are the four humors. Blood, yellow bile, which is basically vomit, okay, black bile, which is poop, and phlegm is the worst Pokemon cards ever. You're the red type. You're a blood type. You're a puke type. Yeah. So basically, they even equated a lot of things. They tried to make connections everywhere they could, even if they didn't fit. Well, if you were a sanguine type, then you're courageous and hopeful and playful and carefree. And if you're, if you're a choleric, named for cholera, chole, which is the yellow color, then you're ambitious and leader-like, and melancholic is your analytical and also your artistic type, and so on and so forth. So they based personalities on these four liquids in the body, or humors. So that's the root of where these humors are. And the humerus bone in the arm was named humerus because it was filled with a lot of liquid, because it's a big bone, had a lot of yellow marrow in it. Okay, so now I'm getting back into this. So the liquid in the eye, too much of it, what did I say that condition was? Glaucoma. It's too much intraocular pressure. Okay, intraocular, fancy word, just means pressure within the eye itself. The messed up thing, folks, is we can't really detect it. Okay, there's nothing within our eye that would tell us, yeah, there's too much pressure. It feels about the same to us. When you go to the eye doctor, they test for it, though. You sit in this machine, you put your chin in it, and you patiently await that terrible puff of air that's going to fly into your eye. It doesn't hurt, but the anticipation of waiting for anything to be introduced into your eye is not great. Okay, what happens is they fire this stream of air at your cornea, and based on the pressure of fluids inside the eye, it bounces back off of your eye into the machine at a different rate based on how much pressure is in your eye. And they can tell with really good accuracy how much pressure is in your eye based on how quickly it bounces back. The old school method was to numb your eye, and this machine would get closer and closer to your eye, grab a hold of your cornea and go like, and basically determine from that what the pressure was inside your eye. So the puff of air is actually an advancement. Ideally, right here where this meets, where the iris meets up with the cornea, there's a drainage holes in there. One major canal going through there. This is going to sound made up. It's called the Canal of Schlemm. Canal of Schlemm. And that's where the aqueous humor is supposed to drain out if you have too much of it. It should be cycling through, like CSF cycles through the brain. But what happens is sometimes this canal gets blocked. And as a result of that blockage, it doesn't drain as well. But here's the messed up part, okay? This little hole exists at the gap between the iris and the cornea. So it's at this little crack right here. So too much intraocular pressure will cause the iris to bulge forward and cause it to close off, which causes the iris to bulge forward and close off even more. So the problem is kind of cyclical. So ways to treat that surgically, they can open up the canal of Schlemm a little bit more. I think they even prescribe, in some states, medicinal marijuana to treat it. I don't know that it actually really does anything. It does help relax the muscles of the uvea, perhaps opening that up, or maybe just makes people not care. All right. Questions about this?
Is that canal of swim like on the whole bottom, or is it like in the corner of your eye? Or?
It's going to be in the eye itself, right at the bottom of the anterior chamber, in between the iris and the cornea, within the eye itself.
Okay.
Yep. Okay. Any other questions?